All right. So let's start this panel discussion. Wojciech and Pavel, from you, please present shortly what are you in right now in your banks, and then let's start because we heard from Victor and Enrique what they're doing and what they're in. So yeah, please tell us about yourself.
Okay, thank you for invitation. My name is Wojtek Widenka, and I'm responsible for client onboarding in business banking in ING Bank Śląski. It means that I am in business area. I'm responsible for creating process management of onboarding, everything connected with CDD review, and somehow I usually say that I'm translator between KYC and compliance requirement into the business area. It means how to deal with the balance between the requirements of clients and requirements of KYC and compliance.
Hello, so my name is Paweł Jeszewski. I'm head of customer lifecycle tribe in BNP Paribas Bank Polska for the SME corporate banking market. And in fact, my role is very similar to the one that Wojciech said. So I'm responsible for all the customer related journeys like onboarding, KYC, after sales and the CRM area.
Okay, thank you very much. We had a question from the audience to Victor. Do you have it still, or okay, the person is out? So let's then wait till the end of the panel. So let's start. Wojciech, from you. My first question will be to you, as you are engaged in digital onboarding of business customers, and ING Bank was one of the first who implemented digital customer onboarding for all the segments and business customers as well. Please tell us how this process has evolved during last years.
Okay, so short version could be like follows. First of all, there was idea of digital onboarding and creating the first application form. Then we step by step expanded the form into additional legal forms, additional features. Big milestone was implementation of identification by selfie, so video verification. Of course, in the meantime, a lot of KYC requirements to be implemented, to be covered by this process. And now we have 40% of share in digital onboarding of our SME clients.
40%. So 40% of SMEs you onboard digital.
Via online, so completely digital way. And the challenge for now is to somehow aware the companies, make companies aware of such process, because I think that mentally a lot of companies think that the only way is onboarding via the branch. Yeah, and we started this adventure with the digital onboarding in 2017, I suppose. We realized that model of banking by clients had been changing. It means that they are able, they wanted to buy the products in online banking directly. So we asked ourselves why we shouldn't change the onboarding process as well. And we created the first application for the easiest cases, and started the onboarding in this way. So then, step by step, we expanded by another features, by another legal forms. In 2020, we implemented the module of video verification, so implementation, identification via selfie. And that's all, yeah? And now we are, as I said, 40% of our clients do it themselves.
What is the target for next year?
Target is
100.
Higher and higher to be at I think that during few years we would like to reach, I don't know, even 70, 80% of completely online process. And how the process looks like today. On the website, the client is able to fulfill the application form, receive the access to the online banking system, sign the agreement digitally, do the video verification, so do the selfie, and if everything is okay, we give him access to the account, and that's all. And I said we try our strategies to guide clients into this process in every channel. So, of course, on the website you can easily find able to find the button start the process of onboarding by the account. But if you call the contact center or if you came into the branch, we will guide you to this process to do it yourself. And even if you, in some cases, use the advisor in branch in traditional way to onboard, to open the account, we use the same application form. It means that even if the application is fulfilled at the desk with the advisor, you sign the agreement online.
Okay.
So this is still the same approach. It looks easy, but it's not, of course. We have a lot of. This is about, I think, continuous improvement of this process. We need to cover all KYC requirements. When we started this journey in 2017, KYC, I think, was at a very early stage, we could say. And now the requirements from this side is much more complex, much more sophisticated, and we need to answer all those requirements. Last year, we decided to change a bit this form and to make it more dynamic. It means that depending on different kinds of legal form, different kinds of characteristic of the clients, the questions we ask are different. It gives us a possibility of do a lot of checks automatically and keep it on track from the client perspective also, because expectations from clients are still the same. Open my account very quickly. And
Yes.
We need to balance between those two words and find the best solution. So our target is also, our aim is to make the decision process as much automatic as is possible and open the account as quickly as possible. I think we're also quite successful because from the perspective of SME, we currently are able to open about 50% of our SME for SME within 1 day, and for self-employed even is above 90% of our production. So I think quite nice process, completely digitally, end-to-end.
Okay, thank you. Pavel, what are your challenges and successes in the digital onboarding?
Okay, so maybe I'll start with the thesis that the SME market is very differentiated. So we have a completely different types of customers there, and the challenges differ by this segment. So to start with the smallest ones, I mean, sole proprietorships, individual customers. More or less, it's like the onboarding of an individual person, or even general partnerships. So there, the devil lies in technicalities, what Victor said. You have to build a frictionless process, which is quite easy, where the abandon rate is low. But the difficulty here lies in this, let's say, in this trade-off between how secure you make it from a technical perspective and how frictionless it is, especially taking into consideration our regulatory requirements in terms of remote onboarding, which are very specific. Yeah? For example, in Poland, if you want to be 100 compliant, you have to check how thick the document is, whether it's not multi-layer, and you have to check the reflexes and things like that. Yeah? So, and what Victor said, the longer it takes, the abandon rate is higher. So, in this segment, I would say it's much. The biggest issue is this frictionless process and the way that you design it. The other part of this segment are kind of traditional customers, traditional sectors. For example, we as BNP Paribas are quite strong in the agricultural sector, and we have a lot of SME customers in smaller towns, in smaller cities. And for those customers, in fact, they do not need digital onboarding. They would love to meet with the relationship manager, drink coffee with him, know this person. And even if you give them, the documentation in the PDF, they tend to print it and put it into the shelf. Yeah. So there, it's kind of change management. It's changing the attitude. What Wojtek said, trying to convince them that they should, it's safe, it's okay. And in fact, for those customers, it is we as a bank who are driving this change, because the customers do not want to change. we want them to change because the traditional onboarding process is extremely costly, frankly speaking. And of course, it's error prone because when you do it in branch, and you can make a lot of mistakes. So it is something that we are working on and trying to change the customer habits. And then when we look at the bigger SMEs, because I'm responsible also for the corporate banking, mid corporates, and the medium companies, in this case, the challenge lays again in a completely different area. I would say it is KYC, what again Wojtek said a second ago, because checking the identity of the persons who are entitled to represent the company is quite easy. Okay, maybe it's not that easy as for the lowest segment, because you can have 2 or 3 people that need to be verified and they need to sign the agreement. So it again takes longer. But then the biggest issues go to all the KYC requirements, especially the ones connected with the UBO identification, because to do it, we very often need a lot of documents. Sometimes the case is easy. You can just look at the register when it's a private limited company, so Polish spółka ZOO, sometimes it is easy. But when it is not easy, we need to ask the customer for a lot of documents, like the company status, the company agreement, the establishing act, some financial reports, and so on. And we need to do kind of, not the quantity, but quality assessment. And this takes time. So for me here, the biggest challenge is the KYC related things, not the technology itself. But again, it very differs per segment.
How to motivate customers to onboard digital? This is a question to all of you, if you have the experience. How did you push your first customers to onboard digitally when you started this process in your banks?
Frankly speaking, we created the KPIs for the relationship managers.
Okay.
So, of course, try to talk with the customers and build a solution that we were quite certain after the test that it will work and it is good and convenient. But again, that was not enough. So my first example was that when we created our 3C application, after 1 year, the usage, for example, in the corporate segment was like 70%, because those bigger companies tend to work differently, and adoption was much quicker for them. But when you looked at the SMEs, it was very low, because we have a number of branches, a few hundred salespeople, and also the relationship managers were taught to bank in this way, to meet with the customers, grab a coffee, sell something during this visit. Yeah. So it was a change that went from the headquarter to relationship manager, because he is involved in this onboarding, to the customer. Yeah, customer is external party. Cannot before he onboards, you have very difficult, very limited possibilities to change his behavior. You can do it by this point of contact, which is, in our case, relationship manager, because I'm not responsible for the smallest, I'm micro customers where there's the kind of mass onboarding. In our case, always there's a relationship manager involved, whereas I said central remote relationship manager or one in a branch, but still it's like person contact and trying to convince the customer to do it. And if you don't do it, your sales goals won't be checked. Yeah, you will not get the bonus.
I agree. I think that currently we are using also marketing campaign to say it's on online or in television that you are able to do it yourself via website. However, yeah, I agree. Branches means relationship managers are very important in this. As I said before, clients who are not don't have a fixed appointment with the advisor and just came into the branch are asked to do it themselves. Yeah, and this is the way. And if relationship managers see the value of such process, it means less work for them and customer experience, good process for clients. They just push client to do it themselves. Yeah, and this is the only way. I think I don't see any other way to convince client to use this solution. Yeah.
Victor and Enrique, do you have some observations on that?
Yeah, I think both of our presentations covered it. So obviously designing seamless experience, and then the word of mouth in the industry will follow. But you can also boost the on-site experience with the digital services. That's why we integrate our solutions also in kiosks, in branches. So the customer comes in, they are recognized by a kiosk, then they are redirected to the consultant, because they expect some kind of consulting concierge almost, because it's a business client, they want to be treated in a different way. But you can have this wow effect on a client, you know, wow, this is really 21st century. And, you know, banking doesn't have to be idle. It can be exciting. So I think a lot of institutions also have these bonuses on us for a sign up. This has some other, you know, fraud indicators, but it's also, you know, based on marketing, also one way to do it.
Yes, also the experience. So you go to the branch, you get the kiosk, so you can onboard yourself by yourself, right? So this is a good experience. But also what we've seen is the reduce of fraud, because you may have someone in the bank that is your friend, and then he can help you to open the bank account. We've seen this in several markets, that they are implementing the same experience that you have with the phone, but in the branch. Basically, this is to reduce the fraud. Not in this part of the world, but in several others, this is what they are doing. So it's exactly the same. So you get the phone, you present your document, verify that the document is real and authentic, and then you do the matching between the person from the document against the person who is in front of the camera. It's exactly the same process, but it's more secure, because the other thing is that you may have an identical twin, or you may have someone that is alike to you. And even if you go to the branch, if they are presenting a document, you have the teller and is checking that the person is the same as the one who is claiming to be. They can go through with our technology in general. So we are able to verify that even if this is an identical twin, it's not going to go through, right? So this is what we are promoting as well. That is not only for the usage and for the friendliness, but also for enhancing the security.
Enrique, if I can comment on that, I fully agree with you. So, for example, when you got a regulator says you have to be very, vigilant when doing remote onboarding. You have to check everything. But when you look at our statistic and market statistic, the most frauds take place in the branch. It's much easier to take a fake ID and open an account in branch, because it's only person.
Human factor, right?
It's only human factor. It will never be able to verify the document as good as the solution. But of course, what you can do is support this process by helping him to check the document. Of course, he's a human factor, but again, he also can be bribed or paid, and such cases also happen, which cannot happen with the machine.
So maybe if I can summarize, you want the human factor for consulting and the service, but you don't want the responsibility and security based on a human, because again, can be tired, bribed.
Yes.
It's late. They want to close everything else.
I think also I would add one more thing. I think that easier is have the fake identity for private individuals than for company, because behind the scene is also verification of registers, and if the company exists, what is the company characteristic, etc., etc. And it's much easier just to go to the process of onboarding for private individuals and I'm a completely different person. And this is, I think, something which should be taken into consideration.
Yeah, so we have one example actually in Spain. We are working with one of the largest banks there. And they asked us to include this type of digital onboarding in the branch. Because there are a couple of areas in Spain that they are not really safe. It's like Latin America in some cases. And then the people at the tellers, they were pushed to open the bank accounts. So they were threatened. If they don't open the bank account, something may happen. So the bank say, we need to implement this type of solution, because even if they go with a paper mask or with a video, so there is an excuse from the teller to say, I cannot onboard this person because he's not telling me that this is a real person, because they go with with mask or with paper photograph, and then they are pushing the bank to open the bank account. So they say they implement this technology, and now they see a reduction on the accounts that they are opening in the branches because they reduce the fraud like 99%. Because now they need to go through all the liveness detection, the matching as well. So now they are really happy with this type of technology. So yeah, so you are also protecting people.
What is actually the recommendation from both of you as representatives of tech companies? What is the step-by-step procedure to actually minimize frauds and deepfakes? Maybe even not only for the banks, but also for SMEs. What they can do to actually minimize the influence of fraud and deepfakes on their businesses?
Well, yeah, I mean, the onboarding and authentication is a sum of many small parts. So obviously when you register, you have to provide the ID. So obviously you need to check whether it's a real ID, the edges, whether there's no photo on it, copy-pasted photo, and the holograms, all the security features around the physical documents. The NFC provides the highest security for physical documents. Then also EID is the answer here. But people can also present photos of a document in front of the camera. So it's called presentation attack in terms of the document. And the biometrical part, liveness is really crucial here because firstly you prove that it's a live person. You have to make sure it's not a deep fake. It's not a photo of high resolution. But next to the presentation attacks, we have also injection attacks. So fraudsters can try to outsmart the device, the app, that it's the video comes from the camera when it's actually injected into the phone. So this is another threat next to presentation attacks, where liveness is comes handy, and passive liveness, in our opinion, is really the happy medium between security and user experience because it's quick. It's much safer. It's security by obscurity. So fraudsters don't know what you are looking for in the liveness test. Because if you ask people to move their heads or wink, or at some point the fraudster can get it right. And with masks, it's easy to spoof with masks. So this is the onboarding part. But there is a lot of frauds later, after the account opening. So mule accounts. How do you authenticate users half a year later? Do you prompt them to send a SMS sent to the phone? No, it's not really a verification. It's only it's only checking if you have transmission access to the SMS. So really, biometrics then, whether facial biometrics or voice, multi-factor authentication is really important. So we eliminate mule accounts or fake identities and everything else.
Yeah, so to follow the process, right? So you need to go verify the document is real and authentic. This is step number one. There are something very important as well. So your system should be able to support using mobile phones, but also web camera. So you can open the account using any kind of browser. Because this is going to expand the audience, right? So there are people that they don't have mobile phones, that they prefer to open the laptop and open the camera and do the onboarding. So this is also important that you have the flexibility to open bank accounts using cameras from any kind of device. And the other thing is that you need to have a strong provider for eKYC. So you do the digital onboarding, you do the verification, the biometrics, but what happened afterwards? So you need to verify that this person is not in any of the watch lists. So this is the second step after you do the biometric and the digital onboarding. And this is also running for eKYB, so know your business, right? Because in eKYB, so you can open an account for business, but it doesn't need to be linked to a person. So you don't need to run the liveness detection, the biometrics, because this is for business. But you can run all these background checks. So you need to be sure that the person is not in any of the watch lists around the world. So you also need a very strong provider for the eKYB, right? That is giving you the certainty that eventually once that all the transactions are happening, you as a bank, you are not going to have any issues.
Yeah, okay. Do we have some questions from the audience? Yes, can we have a microphone? here in the end of the room.
Thank you for the fantastic presentations. I was just curious, how do you guys plan to integrate with the European Union's move to have self-sovereign identities in their wallets?
So, in short, because it's still ahead of us, as Faceview, we just launched the digital identity wallet at Money 2020 in Las Vegas. So we will be adjusting to the European regulation, and if it's then open to the providers in Europe, we want to be part of this.
Yeah, there is a lot of discussion happening now at high level within the regulation. Finally, they released the draft agreement for the eIDAS. This is how it's called, and you have all the different levels how you can get access to this type of eIDAS, right? So this is a self-sovereign digital identity, but for us as a biometric company, what it means is that they're going to store the biometrics in a certain area where everyone can have access to this. So it's not going to be centralized. So if you want to open a bank account, so coming to the context here, if you want to open a bank account in Poland, so you go and then you call this, and then you can open the bank account. The call is going to go from the bank directly. So it's not going to go through the digital identity provider. So it's going to go to this self-sovereignty module, and then they can open the bank account. So this is the beauty of this. If I want to open a bank account from Portugal as well, so it's going to be the same process. So it's expanding the possibilities for companies like us, biometric companies, digital identity, but also to the banks, because it's going to be like the blockchain for digital identity. And Europe is one of the leaders in this. So everything what is happening here with the regulation for eIDAS is going to be replicated in the States, is going to be replicated in Australia as well, all over the world. So we are so excited about this. It's not finalized yet, so we expect to take part maybe in 2024, 2025, because there is a lot of things happening. And the other complex thing is the local regulation. So this is for the whole European Union, but then you have a specific regulation from Germany as well. This is the most complex, as you may know. This is very complex in Germany, also France as well. They have their own local regulation. So they need to make the changes during 2024 to be aligned to this regulation in 2025 onwards.
Do we have another questions? Okay, so then be the last question for the panel to each of you. Our previous panel was about the AI and taking into account the very fast development of new technologies. How would you imagine the customer digital onboarding in the next 5-10 years?
Maybe I'll start, but I'll start with something a bit different. I believe that although AI will change a lot of things, and the discussion was very good at especially at generating documents, generating answers to the claims, or supporting bank employees. And in fact, this is today what is the strongest. This is the strongest area. But in terms of onboarding, I would say the crucial obstacles lay not in technology today. They lay in the regulation, they lay into the KYC, they lay into the lack of interoperability. And what was tackled a second ago, I would love to see the initiative of European Commission of European identity to go fully fledged. It's with a beard already. It started in 2019. We have 2024. And still for the last, it's 4 or 5 years. Sorry, I'm not that good at counting, but it's quite long. Yeah? And the vision is great that any individual person in the European Union or any company will have its digital footprint and identity and can be very easily reusable among countries. But still, the challenge is, even if it will be applicable, whether local regulation will not kill it. Let's take a local example of Polish market. We have mDowód, which is a digital identity, but you cannot use it online for opening banking accounts. So it's like hilarious. You can use the digital identity to identify yourself in a branch, to open the relation in a branch, but you cannot do it through the website. So you can use it to gather the data of this document, but still you have to perform, for example, at the very top via the biometrics. So I would love the regulation to be changed and this interoperable e-identity to be rolled out, because in more and more cases, for example, what we see in SME market, many representatives of these companies' owners are not Poles anymore. They're from France, Germany, Ukraine, and so on. And we still need to find solutions for them to work. Of course, you can do it via the biometrics, but still you have to be able to learn the engine to recognize all those types of documents.
Yes.
And it's a challenge. Of course, it's possible, but it's not interoperable.
Yeah, I agree. I think that in the future, few things. I think that first of all, awareness of KYC issues between clients. Yeah, because I see that currently not all clients recognize the issue of KYC, don't understand why we ask so many questions, don't understand why the process is so complicated. And this is not operational process anymore. Yeah, it was a few years ago that opening account was just like that. Yeah, and now this is a regular decision process, exactly the same from my perspective as a lending one. Yeah, so if you and clients also, it happens that the clients ask, why do you ask so many questions? I don't want money from you. I just want to open the account. And this is the first thing. I think awareness of the KYC issues from the client. That it will be easier for us and for clients to cooperate in KYC issues. The second one, AI, of course. I think that this is something which will be used for sure in KYC processes and in onboarding as well. But I think that what is important from bank perspective, we need to be smarter than criminals. Yeah, and I think that people who want to cheat us will be smarter and smarter, and we will step ahead. And this is a very tricky issue. And I think that those regulations, which Paweł mentioned, are very important in the future, just to be sure that all banks, maybe even all over the world, will treat clients in the same way, and the solution between banks will be common. It means that we will use the same database, we will use the same questions, so clients will see that the banking system is one big thing, not just many small banks and different approach to the clients in KYC area.
Yeah, so I think with the booming of artificial intelligence, so it's going to be easy, and it's going to be a benefit for everyone, for accounts, for new clients, for existing clients. There is a threat, of course, because AI is growing. We have the bad guys as well. They are learning more. But I think we have also the good guys that we are trying to help the banks. So you see the new banks that they are taking the challenge, that they are taking the risk, and you see all the benefit that they are having. They are getting more and more customers. But now we are bringing this to the more corporate banks. So I think with the integration of AI, machine learning, deep learning, etc., so it's going to be easy and more secure also for the user experience and also for the regulation as well to be sure that this is according to what they are expecting. So for me, I see this as exciting times, especially with all this AI booming, because this is going to be very helpful for everyone, right, in the financial ecosystem.
Yes, I think Wojtek made a good point about the data standardization, because we can have a nice technology, but then you have a business operating in EU based on the licensing passport. But how do I verify this person in Poland, Romania, Czech Republic, Italy, because the databases can be different and they might cover 50% in one country, in other 90%. So what do you do with the rest? That's a lot of manual work. So I think that's a lot of effort on the national level, on maybe EU standardization. In terms of AI, it's already here. So I'm 5 years ahead. I know we will be flying to the moon probably. There's a lot to be done on the authentication side. You know, what happens later during the life cycle of a customer. You know, digital ID schemes, I think this will develop. Obviously, then the question is, what is the adoption and what is the trust in these kind of services? Because we can see success stories of EIDs in Poland and Ukraine, but these are actually exceptions on the European level. So, you know, other schemes didn't really pick up. So we'll see what happens with the EU scheme, you know, the regional one, whether it establishes trust, and people they can use self-sovereign identities. So, you know, also, what is the data management behind this? Can they trust it, and are they willing to use it?
Yeah, yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you to my panel, Pavel, Wojtek, Enrique, and Victor. Thank you very much.